Bonjour, we're back, and this is an instant grammar review of chapter 1.2. There are 5 big concepts: French accent marks, indefinite articles, how you make nouns plural, the verb avoir, and making negatives. Let's check out French accent marks at first. We have an aigu that goes this way. We have a grave, which goes the opposite direction. We have a cédille. We have a tréma, and the last one we have is a circonflexe. Aigu, grave, cédille, tréma, and circonflexe. Next topic we're going to look at are indefinite articles. Indefinite articles are just sort of the French equivalent of an a or a some, and the best way to think about this is in terms of the nouns that they're going to come right before. We have masculine nouns, we have feminine nouns, we have plural nouns, and then we have after the pas. For masculine nouns, we'll use an un. For feminines, we'll use an une. For plurals, we'll use a de. And then after the pas, we do a pas de. So just as an example, you could do a sentence like j'ai un crayon. I have a pencil. And the un has to be masculine because the crayon is masculine. Excellent. Let's move on to making nouns plural. We know that lots of nouns now. Let's just take the noun garçon. The way to make that plural would just be simply by adding an S. And then our un would of course change to a de. If we have a couple irregulars, there are words like bureau or tableau, and when you make that plural, remember because of that EAU ender, we need an X on the end, so des bureaux. Another irregular would be a word like journal. That AL end changes instead of adding an S, and anything that has an AL, like cheval is a horse, we'll take off that L, and then we'll go to an UX. I got 2 more really teeny tiny group when you have the word CD or the word DVD. Whoops, that's not a D. They don't change at all. They're taken from English, and you'll just change the little article in front of them. They don't get S's. And then the last type is a compound word, kind of like the word salle de classe. The salle, that first thing, is our primary noun, and so if we wanted to make anything like this plural, we would just add an S to the front. Des salles de classe. Moving on to our avoir verb. This is a really important verb we learned, means to have, and we also use it to express age. And the verb avoir, again, if we can think of it in terms of our verb house, it's going to look like this. J'ai, AI, tu as, AS, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Remember, there's like almost a little Z sound here as you go over to the verb starter. And the way that you would make this negative, we just slide over here for a second, would be a je n'ai pas. We'll get to that in just a second. Our last big topic for 1.2 are negatives. Negatives, as we look at any sort of subject-verb combination, this chapter we really started looking at the difference between a subject and a verb. If you had a tu, a, we're going to identify what the verb is, and then we're going to make it tu n'as pas. We're hugging with ne and pas. If we had je mange, I'm eating, that's our verb, and we have to make sure that we're hugging. Je ne mange pas. Hugging right there. Lastly, let's do an elle joue. They play. There's my verb. So I've got to make sure that as I make it into a negative, when I say they, elles, ne Joue pas. Notice too that sometimes if we have a vowel starter, this will become a little apostrophe, but only if that verb is going to start with a vowel starter. Otherwise, we'll keep it in a no. Voila, those are the big topics of chapter 1.2. Fini.